1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 13 read, "The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with the body of Christ. Some of us are Jews, some are Gentiles, some are slaves, and some are free. But we have all been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we all share the same Spirit." In 1 Corinthians 12, Paul emphasized what brings the body together. We are baptized into one Spirit and sustained by one Spirit. Later in Colossians, Paul would call Jesus the head of the body. He called him the head of the church. Friends, we are each part of this body. We are each part of this church. Jesus is the head, but each of us is a part of this community of believers. Our bodies are most effective when the whole body works together. And our church is going to be more effective pointing towards Jesus when we all work together as united as one body. But this does not happen just because we're believers. It does not just happen because we go to the same church. We cannot expect to become and to stay one body working together united by just simply being. It is going to take practice. It's going to take spiritual practice. Over the next several weeks, we are going to discuss several spiritual practices that can help us both grow as individuals and grow as a body of believers, to grow as a church. The first week of readings focused on Christian fellowship and Christian accountability as a spiritual practice. These practices can aid us in becoming the whole and complete body, the whole and complete church that God desires us to be. First, Christian fellowship. Fellowship, it's more than just meeting for fried chicken and mashed potatoes. Fellowship in the New Testament can be most clearly defined as a mutually beneficial relationship between those involved. So, Christian fellowship then is the mutual beneficial relationship between Christians. This relationship cannot happen with those outside of the faith. The privilege that is Christian fellowship exists because God has enabled it through His grace. Those who believe in Jesus, those who believe in the gospel, are united together through Christ, and that unity is the basis for Christian fellowship. Jesus describes the unity in His high priestly prayer to His followers in John 17:23, and it reads, "I in them and you in me, that they may become perfectly one, so that the world may know that you sent me and loved them even as you loved me." The perfect unity that Jesus refers is the oneness that we experience in true fellowship. The oneness with one another, the oneness with Christ, and the oneness with God the Father. The second thing that we read about this week is Christian accountability. Accountability is an essential piece for any society or group of individuals to function. And Christian accountability is no different. We are all held accountable in one way or another, in one area of life or another. Accountability, put simply, is being responsible for one's actions. There are several accountability groups that specialize in helping people overcome an issue or an addiction. There are also accountability groups out there for Christians as well. You are most likely right now watching this video with your small group or on a Sunday school class. And guess what? You are taking part right now in an accountability group. There are a couple of essential elements to accountability. The first is trust. Trust is not always an easy thing to gain. It's often a slow process. It will take active listening to gain trust. James 1:19 says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." It will also take an attitude that is not judging. It is real easy to see the splinter in someone else's eye while ignoring the plank in our own. So listen unjudgingly, which leads us to the next element we must have in accountability. We have to relate. Relating is an important factor in Christian accountability. It is helpful when we share a common bond with a person or group of people. People who relate to one another can empathize and share with an understanding heart. To close, Christian fellowship and accountability are important key spiritual practices that we all need in order to grow more spiritually mature. So as you discuss these practices, ask yourself, are you engaging in Christian fellowship? Are you being intentional about spending time with others who believe the same way you believe? Are you being accountable to others? Are you helping others by building trust and relating to them? Do you have a friend or friends that you can go to for fellowship and accountability? As you think about these questions, remember these words from 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Encourage one another. Build one another up.